Okay, we're back into session. Welcome back. And we were discussing the UFRC. Any of the commissioners have any more questions of the parties with respect to the issue?
Well, Mr. Chair, I posed a question. I'm wondering, can you find that question again and help me out? I think I remember it, but it'd be better coming from the record.
You were. I always like to give it a little brief.
In the interest of time, let me try it again. How's that? So, Ms. Scott, has the utility demonstrated in the UFRC application that the eligible utility facility relocations were not included in the test period rate case?
I don't know if we've done that to the extent that perhaps staff was looking for, but I'm going to ask Ms. Santa Cecilia to respond to that because she was the one that was involved in putting the application together and going through all the projects that were part of that application.
Okay.
So in this application, there's a prescribed recovery period that we could have filed for, and it would have been November of 2015 through April of 2016 for this update. Now, the rate that was in effect, that's been in effect since January 1 of this year through June 30th of this year, was filed well before we filed the base rate case. And that does include 2015, and not arguing that that portion needs to be zeroed out. But at some point, what point is the difference of opinion, at what point it needs to be zeroed out. But in the filing that I made, I included only the projects from January through April of 2016 because those projects are not included in the base rate case test year of 2015. So I did take out the November, December 2015 because that was included in the filing. Of course it was. It's the 2015 test year. And only included, so the incremental piece that would move forward after the rates go to zero, either in July or in December, only includes 2016 utility facility relocations. And that's not in the test year. So that was my way of proving it. If that's not enough, and there should be some other prescription that should be followed in the filing. The filing is very, it's mandated very explicitly in the statute. So I hesitate to go outside of anything because it's done that way so everybody can follow it, it can be audited, and all of those things. So if I need to provide more, I can certainly do that. But by cutting out the 2015 plant, because I knew that was included in the base case, I thought I had demonstrated that. So,
Mr. Geddes?
Just point of clarification, if you go back to the one page that was sent to you last night, I believe, or this morning, you can see, and I believe we're talking about the gas case 72 at the moment. So you can see that the rate that the company is asking for is a buildup of what they were previously collecting, the 1.88% plus the filing rate for this application of 0.25% for a total of 2.13. Staff's position is that the 1.88% needs to be zero at the time of interim rates, and that they are entitled to a rate of 0.25% going forward, which will collect investment from the January through April 2016 time period.
In what way do you disagree with that statement?
Because they're talking about this happening, or they're talking, staff is again, the difference is whether the reset to zero happens July 16th or December 16th. July 16th when interim rates go into effect, or December 16th when full rates go into effect as part of the rate case.
If I go to this administrative code that was presented to us, 2.5, it says the UFRC rate shall be reset to zero as of the effective date of new base rates that provide for the prospective recovery. It doesn't necessarily say total recovery. It says prospective recovery. So I'm not sure whether total recovery happens when the base rate goes in early or when the case gets to the hearing.
And to that, Commissioner Gray, all I can say is when you read the provisions of Section 306 of Title 26, which contains the provisions as to when the 2.5 million goes into effect and when the remainder goes into effect, the 2.5 for the interim rates are considered under the statute as a portion of the rate. And as I read the UFRC regulations, it doesn't talk about a portion of the rates. It talks about when new base rates go into effect.
Mr. Geddes?
Commissioner Gray, I would only note for the record that Section 306 precedes these regulations that you're discussing in time. And if the legislature had wanted to make that distinction that Ms. Scott is making, then they probably would have done it in the legislation, but they did not do that. As you pointed out in 2.5, it says the data of new base rates. It doesn't refer to interim, proportional, or anything else, and it also includes the word perspective.
Well, from my perspective, we should try to be uniform between the utilities, and I therefore would be voting or supporting the staff's position on this issue. Any further argument with respect or any questions with respect to this issue? Okay, we have a motion to resolve this issue. Commissioner Gray, is that, I see your right hand went up, Commissioner Gray.
You thought that was raising my hand.
You got it up far enough I saw it.
Chair, I move that, well, let me, for clarification first, are we addressing both at the same time or each separate and distinguished?
Whichever you prefer.
So with respect to dockets 160671 and 160672, I hereby move that the Commission adopt staff's recommendation to oppose the, let's get these acronyms correctly, UFRC rates that have been applied for by Delmarva.
I second it.
Is there any discussion regarding the motion by Commissioner Gray? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. We did not address in that matter the comments of council that perhaps there was some insufficiency in the application.
I don't think in order to fashion an order that we will need any further clarification with regard to that particular point.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Now, I took my agenda with me.
Number 7.
Number 7, in the matter of the application of Artesian Water Company for approval of the semi-annual adjustment to the DISC effective July 1st. And Mr. Willard.
Yes, Your Honor, the staff would request that you approve order number 8910 in your packet. That would be to allow these rates to go into effect, but not to actually approve them, and they would be subject to audit. The rates we're talking about, in May 31, 2016, Artesian filed an application to adjust its DSIC rate. Its current rate of 1.57% was effective January 1, approved last December by the Commission, and Artesian is seeking the approval to increase its current DSIC rate by a component of 0.73% for a total assessed DSIC rate of 2.30% with an effective date of July 1, 2016. And that's based on net additional plant of $3,319,248 and an associated semi-annual depreciation expense of $37,580. The rate's expected to increase the bill of an average customer by approximately 38 cents per month over the current rates in effect. And the staff is requesting that you allow this rate to go into effect, but that you not actually approve it, and that it be subject to future audit.
Thank you, Mr. Willard. Comments?
Good morning, or good afternoon, David Baccarengi on behalf of Artesian. We have reviewed the proposed form of order and ask that you approve it.
Thank you, David. Ms. Iori? Nothing, no involvement, right? Any questions for the commissioners of any of the parties? May we have a motion to approve this new disc?
Move that we adopt order number 8910 as submitted.
Seconded.
Is there any further discussion with respect to the motion on 8910? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Willard. David?
Now we have all of the third thing.
I think at this time, if I could call on Mr. Howitt. Oh, I'm sorry, no, I apologize. Let's do the regular agenda item that we took off the consent agenda, put on the regular agenda. And so we're not going to take no action on this, Ms. Mayrek. We're going to reschedule, and that's not going to be considered any action.
Staff would suggest, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, that the Commission affirmatively vote to continue consideration of this matter into the future.
I will move that we continue the matter of the disclaimer of affiliation filing by T. Rowe Price Associates, docket number 160711 to the Commission. Do you want a date?
No.
Okay.
I would prefer that
To
we
the
just
future.
indefinitely continue it.
To the future.
I second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? The motion passes
Aye.
unanimously.
Now you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the hearing schedule. Is there anyone here from the public to make any comment to the Public Service Commission? Well, we do have one public thing to announce, and we're going to have Mr. Howard do that. If Jason Smith could come up and have a seat up front here, we'd appreciate that, Jason. Public.
He wore his yellow shirt.
You're blushing, Jason.
Please close and lock the doors.
Chairman Winslow and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to publicly flog Mr. Smith. The Department of State routinely recognizes employees that have gone above and beyond their work accomplishments. And actually, the PSC is very fortunate in that respect, in that we have lots of employees that go above and beyond every day. But today, I guess I have the honor of recognizing one such individual here at the Public Service Commission, and that, of course, is Mr. Jason Smith. Mr. Smith was nominated by his supervisor, Ms. McDowell, to be considered for Employee of the First Quarter 2016. As luck and hard work and perseverance would have it, Jason was selected by the Department of State as the Employee of the First Quarter. Jason's been at the PSC since March 2012. He's worked various administrative issues, several gas cost rate cases, but he's most noted for helping everybody celebrate their PSC birthdays on a regular monthly basis. I always look forward to the unique and ever fresh refreshments that he provides. In late 2013, as you're all aware, several legislators got their heads together, and they requested that the Commission increase the transparency of charges on the Delmarva power bills. Accordingly, his wonderful management team said, this is a great opportunity for somebody to take and take charge and test their mental and skills and everything else.
And we thought that Mr. Smith could probably slog through this contested case with everybody wanting different versions of the charges on their bills. I'm happy to report that Jason did an outstanding job on going through that, even if it did take him 3 years and a whole new billing system from Delmarva.
And many mental tests later.
So even with a multitude of varying positions, he was able to arrive at a final version of Delmarva's new bills. And so for his continued work at the Commission and for successfully concluding that long-term congested billing case, I would like to recognize Mr. Smith as the Department of State's first employee of the first quarter. And in case you haven't seen it, there's a wonderful picture and tribute to Mr. Smith. In case you haven't seen that, plus there's the little certificate we always do. Oh, wait a minute, I got to get Jason.
Are we supposed to?
Right.
You're supposed
Am I supposed to hold myself?
Hold yourself.
I've prepared a short 47-minute documentary about my life, Natalie.
Move we skip that.
But seriously, I would like to thank everyone, that and the management team and the commission for my continued support and growth here at the commission. Thank you.
Well, Jason, we all appreciate your work. You obviously do a great job in everything you touch. We do appreciate also your kindness with respect to some of the social activities that go along. And we also appreciate your understanding and your understanding as commissioners that sometimes we don't always follow your advice either. But congratulations, a well-deserved award, and we thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith is being very shy today. I'm sure he would be certainly happy to tell you how you've made wrong decisions in the past.
Yeah, he does.
I intentionally did not give him that opportunity while acknowledging that does occur on occasion.
Under director's comments, Chairman Winslow, commissioners, I do have a few things that I'd like to share with you. If you'll recall, we've had the congressional delegation involved in the artificial island project and lobbying the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, asking them to look at the cost allocation and do lots of wonderful things for us in Delaware to help us avoid the costs. I'm happy to report that Chairman Norman Bay of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has responded back to the Honorable Jack A. Markell, the Honorable Christopher Coons, the Honorable Thomas R. Carper, and the Honorable John Carney. Unfortunately, it's a form letter, so I can summarize just one very quickly for you. But what it says is, while he's unable to comment on the merits of the request for rehearing, as it's pending before the Commission, he can assure you that the Commission understands the importance of reasonable allocation of transmission costs to consumers in PJM. So we did get an acknowledgement back from the congressional delegation, did get acknowledgement back from FERC, and those letters are posted on EL 1595, which is the artificial island case. I'm also happy to report, and I'll remind you that as a commission, along with the Maryland Commission, we did send a letter to PJM asking them to encourage FERC to move along on the cost allocation issue and certainly to be supportive of our efforts to the extent that they could. I would like to acknowledge that we did receive a letter back addressed to you, Chairman Winslow, and also to Chairman Hughes of the Maryland Commission. And what they are basically saying is they're acknowledging the Commission's concerns with the cost allocation methodology. And PJM further says the board understands your desire to have the FERC rehear the matter and certainly will not oppose your rehearing request. So that's the basic substance. I could read the whole letter to you if you like, but that's the basic substance of the letter. So we believe that PJM is although maybe not actively supportive, certainly not positioning themselves to oppose anything that's been going on with respect to the rehearing. So I wanted to share that with you. And if there's any questions, why, I'll be happy to share copies of that with the commissioners as well. Okay, moving right along. We have a public comment session on docket 160163, which is the Suez Water Delaware rate case. That's going to be held on June 30th at 6 p.m. at the University of Delaware Arst Hall in Wilmington, Delaware. That is the public comment session, and obviously it'll be conflicting with the legislature, which will be in magic session probably until the wee hours of the morning. But in any event, that is our public comment session on the Suez water case. We will also, at your next commission meeting, which is July the 12th, we will have an evidentiary hearing on docket 160642, which is the Chesapeake Utilities Corporation City of Harrington franchise fee rider. Just to make you aware, that'll be at 1 o'clock here in our Dover office as part of your normal meeting. We are also going to have a workshop on Delmarva Power's retail electricity procurement and small commercial for residential and small commercial customers. We're going to have that workshop on Thursday, July the 21st at 9:30 a.m. here in our Dover office. That workshop will be an opportunity for the participants to review, if they haven't already reviewed, the London Economics International report that advocates a proposal for a portfolio of supply. Those participants will obviously have opportunity to comment on that, and then we'll probably at some point in the near future take that to the commission for their consideration. I believe that's about it. Our next commission meeting is Tuesday, July the 12th, starting at 1 p.m.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hallett. I guess our friend from Mr. Noyes is not present today, I don't believe. Is there anything else from any of the commissioners regarding today's agenda or any comments? I would just say that I think that everyone from staff and the commission had a good substantive MACROC visit, and so that was a big success, I think. I want to thank Commissioner Drexler, who is on the panel about distributed renewable resources.
And may I thank Heather and John and Pam isn't here, and somebody else and Joe. Yes, thank you so much, everybody, for helping me.
Yeah.
I asked them to ask me the questions in order, and they didn't, but it worked out, and I learned a lot. And Harold's panel was extremely informative. It was really interesting, and we all learned about electric cars and apps to find plugins.
So, okay. Thank you all very much. We'll see you at the next meeting.